Welcome to the show. I'm Tiff Marchand from Carver Designs, and this is Carver Conversations, a Sabertooth podcast. Today on the show, we have Greg from Natural Selection Studios, and he is an amazing artist. He does all these very cool, organic and natural looking shapes. He adds this texture to the pieces that he turns, and it completely changes the look of it. And he's not afraid to use color. This guy is so talented, and we were very excited that he had time to come and sit down with us and chat. If you're looking to grab some burrs this week, use our code EM2CO in all caps to save 10% off your order. But if you've got some time and you want to sign up for our mailing list, you get a coupon once a month for 25% off your entire order. It only lasts 24 hours, so you have to use it quick. But it's a great way to get some burrs onto your toolbox and get yourself going. There are new kits right now that have a variety of grit levels and a variety of burrs to get you started. So if you are new to this and you want to get some burrs and get going, these kits are where you want to check out. So if you go to our page, look under the kit section, and there are new 1/8 inch kits to get you started. We also released back in September a bunch of 1/4 inch bits. Okay, I'm done talking now. Enjoy the show and have a great day. Well, very nice to meet you. I know we've really never chatted before, but I've been a fan of your work for a while now. Since
Thank you.
Taking over Sabertooth's page, I'm like,
yep.
Who's this guy? Like,
right.
I just love the way that your pieces are so organic and natural. But I know you're using a lathe, which can be very, circular and perfect. But you've disrupt that, and it's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. I like to think of it as like using the lathe as a making a canvas. I'm going to make a canvas with the lathe, and then after that, then I'm free to do whatever I want to with the piece. So
which is awesome.
It's very sometimes, I mean, it depends on the piece, but a lot of the times that's how I view it.
Yeah, it just gives me pottery vibes. Like, I feel like I'm in a pottery studio when I'm looking at your page, and it's like, wait, that's wood. You have to take that second, like, oh,
right. I can't, I'm not into not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm just not into, kind of feeling constrained into, perfectly round. And I'm not a big fan of perfectly round objects, I guess.
Yeah, no, you like that organic vibe. I mean, it makes sense just with your name, Natural Selections.
Right. Yep.
It gives a good clue of who you are,
Right. I mean, when you're starting out, you don't know really what to do, but eventually, after doing it for so long, you obviously pick a path kind of and go down it. So
yeah, absolutely. How long have you been doing this? Did it kind of all start with a lathe, I assume?
22 years, maybe. Awesome. Something like that. And then I've been doing it full time since 2008.
Sweet.
So, yeah, it started, it didn't start with a lathe, but I mean, I learned how to turn in high school wood shop. I've always been artistic as a kid and stuff, so I did a lot of drawing and painting as well. I got into wood carving, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then I got books on wood carving and started to do that a little bit. For some reason, I went back to the bookstore and saw a book by Richard Raffin, one of his, turning wood, turning bowls.
Okay, very cool.
And I picked it up and just was flipping through it, and I was like, oh yeah, the lathe, from wood shop. And I was like, let's do this. So that was it.
You're lucky to have that experience, though, to have a lathe in high school to be able to try.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I remember liking that the most out of anything. I cannot do. I guess this goes back to what we were just talking about. I can't do flat work, any kind of construction, anything that involves math. I'm not. Don't ask me to build you a cabinet or anything like that.
I'm 100% with you. Like,
right, I can't do it. There's just no way. And a lot of that comes from wanting it to be perfect as well. If I know I'm going to be building something that has to be perfect, it would have to be perfect, and I just know that I'm not capable of that. I know my limitations, and I know I'm not capable of building something that's going to be great. So forget it.
Nor do I have the desire. I don't know.
No, I don't. I
Does
don't
not
either.
intrigue me.
No, it's not fast enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the lathe is instant gratification,
Yep.
and then I try to make it even more instant gratification. So if I can make a goal for myself to, okay, how many pieces can I get done today or this or that? And that's kind of where the microwave comes into play, being able to dry the wood.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so you just make a game out of it and have
No,
fun.
I'm with you. I think a lot of people who get into carving really do enjoy that instant gratification that it brings because it is. It's just like, ooh, you can see something shaping up so
Yep,
quick. And then
absolutely.
as you're doing details, like, I want a line there. Just make a line. Okay, next. Like you just
Yep.
keep going. Like
Right.
regular traditional woodworking for me, it's just I just no interest. I don't want to cut things, square them, mill it down.
Nope.
Like
Nope. And I
I'm
like I
capable,
said, right.
but
Like I said, I'm not, you know, dissing it at all
no
because, it's
interest.
great. It's beautiful. I really enjoy looking at it and people
Hmm.
doing it, but I can't do it. And I guess that's why they do it because they're really good at it. And,
Exactly.
and that's what they like to do. That's what
Hmm.
they enjoy, that process. So
Exactly.
that's
And I
fine.
love seeing people too now that are doing those things that are perfect, and now they're starting to add texture with the saber tooth
Sure.
burrs. Like
Right.
that's fun way to see them starting to explore more with art because
Exactly.
like it's just addicting. So
Oh, it is. I still wake up every morning, can't wait to get out the shop,
it's awesome.
for however many years. It's the same feeling every day, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole point. And once you find that, then you've got it. Then just run with it
100%.
and try and make good business decisions, I guess. I mean, that's the,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't have a business plan when I started, so I don't recommend that. I do tell people that at least
Yeah.
have a plan in place. So,
Right. Put some
uh,
align some things. Yeah. Make some moves.
absolutely. Not just, hey, I'm gonna start doing that. Okay. And then just,
Very curious because I've like been browsing your page.
hmm
Have you always been into color? Like I just love some of your pieces you leave very natural, but others are just like
right.
whoosh.
Actually, because I thought about that too, but no, I have been. Um, I try to go back and think about like my really early work.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're just starting out, everything's pretty natural, because you're just trying to get the hang of things. And
Show with the grain and yeah.
right. It wasn't until probably I would say I would say 2006 or 7, somewhere around there, that I started to play around with color.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then it did just snowball from there. But I've I've gone back and looked at things that, like, even what I'm doing now, um, those are all rooted in ideas that I've had a long time ago.
Right.
There's but I at that time I didn't have the probably the capacity to think about it long enough to think, well, how can I achieve this? How can I do this? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, you have to, just keep working at it and work it out, and eventually you'll get to where you want to, where you see what you want to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it's at.
It's so cool. I just love it. Like it's never been such a pleasure to stalk somebody just scrolling through all the
Oh, right.
different shapes. I'm
I
looking
mean,
at
I
like the way you lace into like when you add the laces to
right.
the wood.
Yep. I've done that for a long time. People do enjoy it. So even though it's wood, I try to, if I can, I try to get a balance of the
Yes.
natural wood and color, because I know people want to see, if it's wood, they want to see the wood.
Yeah, it's one of
So,
those things that is kind of taboo sometimes about like should you
right,
stain or like paint something or like it's
right.
hardwood. Man, just gorgeous work. I can't stop scrolling. Sorry.
That's fine.
When did you start adding power carving to everything?
I
Well, not
actually,
everything, but
well, no, I had actually used, saber tooth burrs forever,
yeah.
and because I had carved, I started, carving fairly, I mean, it was a few years after I started again, but I started, wanting to carve pieces, and
Mm-hmm.
I was, I saw saber-tooth burrs and I just, okay, that'll work. So I just, got them and did
Yeah.
it. But no, I have the same burrs I got when I started. I mean, they're ground down to nothing, but uh, but yeah, no, I've used them and used them for carving or shaping. I
Mm-hmm.
guess you could, I got used them a lot more at that time was for shaping, not necessarily carving
Carve.
patterns or, you know,
Yeah.
but it was for a long time, long time.
It's cool. And first of all, I like that you said that you've had them forever and
I have.
you can still use them though. Like, yes,
Yeah, I
you've
mean,
worn
I
them
do have
out,
this.
probably.
They're worn down. They're not worn out,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, I guess that's the thing too. It's just like there's so many now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, you can lose your mind thinking about different things, and that's what I try not to do because then I will just get
I know with all
I'll
the
lose
new
my
kits that
mind.
came out and stuff for people to look
Yeah,
at and choose from.
right. And
It's
like
nice.
the I forget what it's called now, but the one I got, the blue one,
Oh
the
yeah, the Supreme.
the Supreme. That thing, it works. It's a worker,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's great. It's just
The
it's limitless, I guess, and that's
yeah.
is it a problem? No, but sometimes it feels like it's a problem because it's limitless what you can think about doing with them. It
Mm-hmm.
really is.
It eliminates a lot of fear of am I going to be able to carve that too? Because you know that they can
Absolutely.
handle it, you know?
Oh yeah,
Because I was having a hard
absolutely.
time the other day. I was having a hard time cutting the wood with a jigsaw. I kept breaking blades. And like
Hmm.
normally people would be fearing like, oh, are my burrs gonna be able to get through this? But that's not my fear.
Right.
I'm just like, what blade will go through this so I can cut
Right.
some of this off?
Right.
It is funny because like that fear of like it just goes away. You know you can have fun and play and if
Yeah.
you see a big knot in something, that's not a problem. You're gonna get right through it. Like
Yeah.
it
No,
does give you the
yeah,
confidence. Yeah.
absolutely. Confidence, and then a lot of the times when it's not a philosophy, but a lot of the times when I'm working, if I'm carving a pattern or something,
Mm-hmm.
if you mess up or not mess up, it doesn't matter because everything leads to something else when you're working kind of like
Yeah.
that. So you can develop another pattern or this or that just by doing it. So, you know,
Yeah.
that's the fun part about it too.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I know. Do you mix hand chisels on your work too, or is it all power carved?
I don't have any hand chisels. I do have, power carvers,
Okay.
like an Automach power
Yep.
carver with,
With the
carving
chisel
chisels
end.
on it.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. I figured you must because I've noticed like different styles of carving on there. So
Right.
like some of them have like that sharp edge, like a chisel must have gone through it
Yes.
too. That's
Yep.
cool. I like that.
Yep. But I mean, but the latest stuff, even with the sharp edge, you can get a sharp edge just like on the
Oh
latest
yeah.
stuff I've been doing. You can do that with the burrs and you can, it's just, you know, learning to use them diff, ways, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then yeah,
I'm
using
all about, and I'm
more
all about
grits.
speed, yeah, grits, and I'm all about speed and, thinking of ways to get this done faster, right? With the
Right.
same amount of quality,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to speed up the process,
Yes. Yes. And
so that's,
knowing which burr to use in which situation
yes.
is really huge too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to figure
Right.
that out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It matters.
It does. Yeah. And
It
like
does.
picking the right grit for sure. Like
Yeah.
you can do any piece with any of the grits, but
Right.
figure out a way to get yourself, like you said, like faster, like start off with your green
Right.
or your blue and then going
Mm-hmm.
to like, an orange, good, like working your way down the levels. But
Right.
yeah, it's really cool to play around and experiment with that. I'm
Absolutely.
finally getting to your older posts.
Okay.
You're like
Okay.
me. You're like a prolific poster like myself. Like we
Yeah.
constantly sharing.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it.
Yep.
But your pieces are all like gorgeous finish shots, which are nice. For anybody who is starting off, I've been liking to ask these questions. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are your favorite burrs that you would recommend for somebody who's going to be turning and carving those? Like, is there a certain like top three that you love?
The round,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
It's the best.
Well, it is. I think that's probably the most versatile,
Mm-hmm.
right? If
Yeah.
we're gonna get into that part of it. So just by proxy that way, if you wanted to, what should I get first? A round.
Yeah.
Just get different grits of round, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly different sizes. The next would be like I enjoy the flame shape,
Flame.
right?
Yep.
And then I enjoy well, obviously the big one that I got for the die grinder, the blue. I forget what it's called. I always forget what
What's the
it's
shape?
called. It's just round like a wheel,
Oh,
but it's,
okay. The
hold on.
Supreme. Oh, is that called the buzz out wheel, I believe.
Yeah, the buzz out wheel.
Buzz out
I think,
wheel. Yeah.
yep. Yes, yes. That is it is aggressive, but it's very very useful.
So you put that on your die grinder?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do for like what kind of shapes are you doing on that one? Just like big, long, hollowed out areas?
Actually, right now I'm just using it to create grooves, you
Mm-hmm.
know, with, just the round edge.
Yep.
And then I'll go back with a lighter grit round
Yep.
burr, and then
Sand
kind
it.
of clean it up,
Okay. That's
you
really
know?
cool.
Right.
I haven't played with that one. That one looks like it could be a
I
lot of
I want
fun.
to I think there's different grits of these as well. I need to get
Yes.
more. I need
Yeah.
to get, the different grits of that, because that my thinking going back to being faster and speeding up process, if I had lighter grits, I might just be able to use that
Mm-hmm.
to create my texture instead of having to go back, after
And
the
rework.
Supreme, right, and then
Yeah.
go back. But yeah.
I'm taking a look now because I'm just curious.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they have the orange, green, and yellow, so they go down to fine.
Right. Good.
So yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So there's
Yep.
options. Yeah, you got I have not played with the Supreme grip
It,
yet.
it it's good, and I'm going to use it on some larger pieces. I had made some like pieces in the past where they're bowl shape or, larger vessel shape,
Mm-hmm.
but the rim was kind of carved, so it kind of looked like it was wavy.
Yeah.
So that would be very advantageous for that and make that job go a lot faster.
Heck yeah, that's cool.
Hmm.
What are your favorite woods to use? I noticed you use quite a variety, so I don't know if you had a favorite. Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite.
Yeah.
I like to think that, you know, all wood is beautiful. I've said that before, and it is. Some are better than others, just like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I started, it was just all gathering found wood, and majority of the stuff I still do is that. So
That's
it's
great.
I don't, you can't get into like, well, I don't work that wood. No, you find a way to work that wood,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's just the whole point of it,
I love
not
found
to
wood. I'm a
waste.
big
If
advocate of it.
right, if you don't like the way it looks, if it's bland, well then, make it unbland.
Yeah.
Find a way to do that, and it. It can be daunting, but it can be done. Uh, I enjoy working all types of wood. Um, any type of burl is fine. I mean, really, there's no favorite. It's all
Yeah.
good. It's all different. I just love working all different types of wood to learn their different characteristics, I guess, and how they react to different things.
Right. You know which ones are gonna die better and which ones aren't gonna take
Yep.
that color. Yeah.
Which ones will carve better? Which ones are
Mm-hmm.
easier to carve? They all carve. Like, yeah, if you're going to use a burr on something, it'll all carve. But what's easiest?
Yeah. Yep.
You can find that, dry cherry is actually not that fun to carve on with a
That's
burr, just
interesting.
because it's a dense wood, especially if it's dry.
Right.
So you're gonna have to use a little bit more pressure and stuff like that. And it's just, I mean, it's okay if that's all you got. You figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some woods are better than others when it comes to that. And
So
yeah.
you do wet and dry wood? You mix it up with that, or is
Oh,
it? Yeah.
uh, I mean, majority of the time it's all wet. I
Okay.
mean, very rarely
Yeah.
do I don't. Working dry wood is okay if, for me, if I want to finish something right away.
Yeah.
You know what I
That
mean?
makes sense. Not
I
having to
guess
wait
that,
to let it
right,
cure. Like, yeah.
right. That's the positive about dry wood is that you don't have to wait. You can finish it right now.
Yeah. what is your waiting process like when you're doing your pieces? I'm kind of curious, like what your time flow is like that.
I try to do it as fast as I can.
Well, like
So
after
it
you've carved
depends.
it, do you have to like
It
let it
depends.
dry out a certain period of time after it's
Um,
processed?
so there's a piece of maple,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not super wet. I rough turned this
Yep.
probably last week.
Okay.
So what I would do with this is I would, probably put it back on the lathe. I might carve the outside while it's
Yep.
still solid
Okay.
and then hollow it out. And then after that, I'll throw it in the microwave.
I said you mentioned microwave earlier.
Right.
Okay, that
I'll
makes
throw it in the
sense.
microwave and then I'll dry it out, and depending upon how thick it is,
Mm-hmm.
that'll determine how long it's going to take to dry it out.
All right. You're the first
I
person
could
that
do,
I've
I
heard
guess,
use one. That's
well,
cool.
I guess if you want to know, I could do this in the morning, and then by the end of the day, probably maybe 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, it'll be done, painted and
Okay.
everything,
That's
right?
cool. Yeah.
So, and I won't have any problems with it. So that's kind of, I mean, it doesn't take all day for me to do one piece like that, but I'm just saying
No,
the
that's
majority of the
great.
time is waiting for it to dry in the microwave and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But
No, that's super smart. Like I've never seen if someone have that process. The people I've talked to in the past will like carve bowls, then let it sit for a week in a
hmm
container and then burp it. Like it was like this whole
no,
process. And I was like, ooh, that seems exhausting. Yeah, turning looks like a lot of fun. I'm gonna be I don't know if you've heard of the Catskills Maker Camp
I
in
think
New
I
York.
have actually. Yep.
Okay. So Sabretooth is going and I'm going there to
Mm-hmm.
represent them with Sadie from the Awesome Orange. And in
Mm-hmm.
our booth, there's gonna be some wood turners. And I'm like, I'm like, I might
Right.
just go scroll over there
You
and say
should
howdy.
just be careful though. It
Oh
is.
yes.
I mean, it's well, not that it once if you get the bug, then it's like, oh boy, you
That's
know,
why I didn't do it last year. So
right?
everyone was like, making fun of me. So I went last year and
Mm-hmm.
we're walking around and everyone's trying out welding. They're trying out blacksmithing. I've seen some people were doing some pen turning. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't you want to do that? I'm like, they're like,
No,
why? Why? I'm like, I have enough. I have enough interests.
right.
And
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
but as the more I'm talking to everybody who's been turning, it's like, oh, it looks so fun and so fast.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing.
yeah,
It's a fast process. I mean, everything happens fast on a lathe.
yeah.
So,
Well, plus
including
bowls.
including bad stuff. If something bad is going to happen, it'll happen fast. So,
Yeah,
be careful.
I'm sure. I know, and the size of the chisels that you guys use on there and stuff is just like they're insane. Like you see people pull it out, they got two hands on these things.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, they mean business.
Yeah, I mean, it's still some of the tools are big, but it's still the same in terms of, even with anything else, it's still a light touch. I mean, you're not,
Mhm. Right, you're not it's not
no, you're
gentle.
not. No, it's not.
Yeah. I know. I think people, yeah, that's a good thing to touch on too. Like with power carving, don't just
hmm
attack it. Just
No,
give it a little
let the
kiss.
let the tool do the work. That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
there to do, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not, don't be too aggressive with anything. Is it sharp? Everything's sharp. If everything is sharp, then you don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to do a ton of work.
No, plus the lighter, like when you go lighter, I find like sometimes it removes the material better and smoother.
Yes,
There's no
absolutely.
uneven, like those uneven gouges, which we've all had because the wood
hmm
grain changes and it's softer
Sure.
in one section and harder in
Yep.
the other. That can be prevented with the light touch. It's like
It can be, right.
not always.
No,
Sometimes
not
they do dip.
or right. Or you can use that effect to your, you know,
Mhm.
benefit, right? You can try and, make it so that it looks cool. The different,
Yeah,
changes in the wood. So yeah, it's all good.
that's great. Well, is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't covered on here? I'm totally curious.
I can't think of anything right offhand. Um, no, I really enjoy carving, and the burrs make it so easy.
Yes,
And I guess that's the thing. I'm always drawn back to the fact that it's so limitless, the
mm-hmm.
ideas and the potential, that
100%.
it can be, like I said, it can be daunting. But that's the fun part about it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, do you have ideas months, years ahead of time before you can actually get the time to execute them? So,
Right. And I constantly look for ideas for texture or patterns or things like
hmm
that. And that's fun as well. Then you can start, working it out in your head. Okay, how can I achieve that? What would I
yeah,
need to use to achieve that? So, yeah,
that's
it's a
great.
blast.
All right. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Greg. He was awesome, and I really enjoyed that he went into depth process about how he does his work. He wasn't afraid to share details with us and kind of just go over and be completely honest, which is really, really nice. And I enjoyed talking to him. A huge shout out to everybody who came and carved with us couple of weeks ago. It was an amazing time, and just meeting everybody at the Catskill Maker Camp was amazing. We didn't have a moment to think. Sadie and I were definitely overwhelmed by the noise and excitement, but man, the things that you all carved and it being your first time, absolutely amazing. News about the show, we've got a few more episodes that we're going to be releasing via podcast alone, and then we're going to be switching format. It's going to be really fun. We're switching it up because we know that people love to join in and have some live interaction. We're going to go ahead and do live IG interviews with everybody that we have invited on the show. So get excited. We'll be promoting those very soon, and we'll be posting them so that way you know when they're going to be, so you can join us live, and then we'll be saving them to our feed. So if you were unable to join us live, you can watch it right there. And we hope you enjoy that style. I just really wanted to have some fun, so I reached out to Sabretooth and said, let's go live. And they were down with it. So that's very exciting. And a huge announcement, we are going to be at Workbench Con this March. So if you are going, come join us. If you've never carved before and you're interested in it, we're going to be having a live carving demo, and we'll be having some stuff in booth that we can tell you just the basics and kind of get you a nice feel for everything. So exciting things coming up, and stay tuned for that live show. Have a great day and keep on carving.